Let me go straight to the speech. Umunnem ndi Anambra. Ndi Anambra Ndi Anambra Uno nokwia Uno nokwia No. Anambra nine no. Then ndi apuga APGA. Thank you very much and welcome. 4 years ago, ladies and gentlemen, my deputy, Dr. Onyeka Chukwu Ibezim, and I took the oath of office before you at the old governor's office at Agoka. It was a quiet ceremony attended by fewer than 50 guests, and immediately afterward we went straight to work. We were clear that the moment did not call for celebration. On that very day, we worked for 8 hours and 45 minutes. No fanfare, no parade, no celebrations of any kind. It was just work. We declared a state of emergency. The very next day, we began at Oboko, the largest urban slum in the southeast. That visit symbolized our priorities, and that is to start where the need was greatest and to focus on the people who had long been left behind. We made a solemn promise to you then to work 24/7 to rescue. And that hypothesis was a question. Can the politics of transformation and development, rather than politics of transactions, translate into political capital and popular support? Barely 3 years in office, and after delivering more than 90% of the promises we made for our first term, it was you, Ndi Anambra, who proudly proclaimed that Anambra is back and rapidly rising. Indeed, several of the major projects we delivered were not even on our manifesto. Ekulobia was not in our manifesto. The Fun City was not in our manifesto. The lighthouse breaking the 34-year-old jinx was not in our manifesto, and so on and so forth. In affirmation, all the senatorial zones bestowed on us the title Oluwatuegwu Anambra, the one who does not fear work or one who relishes the challenge of difficult tasks. Then came the governorship election in November last year. Umunnem ndi Anambra. What you did was unprecedented in Nigeria's political history. You organized rallies at your own expense, knocked on doors across communities, and donated massively to support our campaign. It was a spontaneous movement of the people, an extraordinary demonstration of ownership of the project Anambra. The unprecedented 73% of the votes cast at the polls was therefore more than an electoral victory. It was a near unanimous affirmation of the path we have chosen together, and a resounding call for us to do even more. I am certain that political scientists will one day write volumes about what many now call the Anambra phenomenon. Today, we stand in awesome gratitude to the Almighty God and to you, the special people of Anambra. We are gathered here at the remodeled and massively expanded Ekwueme Square, not merely to mark the inauguration of a second term, but above all to celebrate you, Ndi Anambra, for your love, your patriotism, and your partnership in the journey of rebuilding our homeland. Albeit I must warn that the celebration is muted because you're only going to eat made in Anambra or made in Nigeria foods and drinks. Be assured that we will never take your historic support for granted. And as the American will say, and as we promised during the campaigns, you ain't seen nothing yet. Many stakeholders, too numerous to mention individually, have proved to be worthy partners in progress over the past 4 years, including Mr. President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, and First Lady Senator Oluremi Tinubu, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Vice President Senator Kashim Shettima, GCON, the federal government, our distinguished elder statesmen and women, and many of them are here today, members of the solution team in our government, my colleague governors and friends at the Nigerian Governors Forum, members of the state and national assemblies, the judiciary, INEC and security agencies, the church and the clergy, traditional rulers and town union leaders, our businessmen and women, our women and youths, our friends all over the country and the world, the international development community, and so on and so forth. You have partnered with us and given us impetus to be able to achieve some. I thank my lovely wife, Nonye, and children, Ozon, Adora, Chinua, Ekene Odoko, Zikora, including my son-in-law, Arinze, who is here with us as well, for their love, sacrifices, and support. The Healthy Living with Nonye Soludo initiative has organically grown to become a life-changing lifestyle for thousands of India, Anambra, and Nigeria. Unfortunately, my father, who had prayed for this day, died at his 92nd birthday in 2023. And together with my beloved late mother, Mbafo, they must be smiling in their graves. Coincidentally, today also marks the 20th anniversary of progressive governance in Anambra State under the aegis of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, APGA. I sincerely appreciate the current and past leadership as well as members of our great party for their unwavering support. My immediate predecessor, Chief Dr. Willie Obiano, unfortunately is still holed up in the US, but sent his goodwill messages. Let me also acknowledge the cooperation of other progressives, especially members of the All Progressive Congress, APC. I think their state executive are all here. As we say here in Anambra, the progressives are working together. Once again, I extend my hand of fellowship to my fellow contestants in the last gubernatorial election. I am and I will continue to be the governor for all Ndi Anambra over the next few years. Politics and the elections are over. It is now time for governance and development. Let us join hands together to build the Anambra of our dream. Umunne Ndi Anambra, uncertainty has become the defining reality of our world today. In such times, only those who think boldly, plan deliberately, and act strategically can shape and control the future. Nigeria, like many nations, faces its own familiar challenges, and making sense of these realities and charting a sustainable path forward is the true test of leadership. Today, I wish to remind us of our shared destination. As the saying goes, if you do not have a destination in mind, any road will take you there. But in Anambra, we are not wandering around. We have a clear destination, and we have a compass to guide us. And if I may refresh our collective memory, and this memory, when you get this speech, I'm sure you are going to read. We took out quite a while, but I'm not going to waste much of your time to read the entire thing here that I have written about how in 2006 I delivered a published address, keynote address, at a conference by the League of Anambra Professionals. And there I articulated a bold vision that by 2030, that was 24 years from then, away from then, Anambra State could deliberately be curated to evolve into an African Dubai, Taiwan, Silicon Valley, ADTS. The logic of this vision was rooted in Anambra's seemingly difficult geography and demographics, as well as its strategic location, endowments, and renowned can-do spirits. Like I said, I have written quite copiously in this address to illustrate what this thing is really all about. So the three pillars of that Anambra's pitting about being a commercial logistics cum leisure location, industrial productivity, and technology-driven innovation, they form the conceptual framework of the African Dubai, Taiwan, Silicon Valley vision. When you get the address, you can read that. But in 2020-21, I chaired the drafting of Anambra Vision 2070, a comprehensive 50-year development blueprint for the state. Over 250 professionals contributed directly to the plan, while thousands of stakeholders across sectors provided feedback and insights. The overwhelming consensus that emerged from this extensive consultative process was that ADT's vision remains the most compelling and robust long-term development pathway for Anambra. Consequently, our manifesto, a People's Manifesto for a Greater Soludo Solution, a People's Manifesto for a Greater Anambra, drew heavily from both the ADT's vision and the strategic direction outlined in the Anambra Vision 2070 document. Fortuitously, the first administration to assume office after the launch of Anambra Vision 2070 in February 2022 is the government we now lead. In this unique circumstance, the visionary becomes the foundational executor. This administration, therefore, carries a historic responsibility to lay the enduring foundations for the next Anambra, setting the state firmly on the path towards realizing its manifest destiny as an African Dubai, Taiwan, Silicon Valley by 2070. By 2070, it is estimated that about 38 to 40 million people, up from the current 9 million, will be resident in Anambra, and probably over 50 million by the end of this century. These people will need transport infrastructure, power, jobs, housing, sewage, and waste management, schools and hospitals, care for the vulnerable and the elderly, and so on. So far, over the last 4 years, every step, every project, every program, law, or policy has been intentional with one question in mind. How does it align with the long-term vision? Where will it leave Anambra not only in the immediate and medium term, but more fundamentally over the next 50 to 100 years? Intergenerational sustainability and alignment to the destination drive our thinking and actions. This is a new chapter on how we do business in Anambra. We're driven by long-term vision, and that is where we are headed to. Yes, in the Anambra, our aspirational alternative future is possible, but must begin with disruptive but sure-footed steps founded on existing realities. When the administration assumed office in March 2022, the initial conditions were daunting. It was impossible to begin dreaming of the skyscrapers when 8 local governments were under the grip of criminals and kidnappers. Cities lacked pipe-borne water and reliable electricity. Infrastructure, especially roads, was in a state of severe decay. Public hospitals were largely non-functional, and many public schools operated without sufficient teachers. The environment was in crisis, the transport system chaotic, and the fiscal planning almost non-existent. Compounding and all of this almost non-existent, resulting in sprawling urban slums. Compounding these structural challenges was an emerging value system that increasingly disparaged hard work while celebrating obscene wealth without work. Government itself had no proper abode from where to think and act. Given the urgency of the moment, the new administration understood that this vision was an agenda with a deadline. The world view was one that did not see any boundaries, physical or religious, and our mantra has been one state, one people, one agenda. As a government rooted in progressivism, it is intentional about leaving no one behind. A governance principle based on equity, fairness, inclusiveness, and compassion. This is the APGA's ideology of Onyaga na Nwanneya. Despite a razor focus on quantum disruptive changes to ensure intergenerational sustainability, building to last, Extreme prudence and value for money, that is doing more with less, define the administration's attitude to public resources. Our goal has been the reinvention of a developmental state where each resident has a significant stake in the prosperity and sustainability of the state. The first 4 years have been devoted to addressing the basics, restoring security, law and order, addressing waste management and urban regeneration, rebuilding public schools and hospitals, infrastructural revolution, especially roads and unprecedented road dualization for the present and future generations, breaking the 34-year-old jinx by building a befitting government house and lodge, digitizing government processes and mainstreaming transparency and value for money governance, restoring public finance on a path of sustainability, rescuing our environment, intentionally investing in leisure and entertainment to turn Anambra into a preferred destination. A document, I'm sure, circulating here entitled Anambra on the Rise, the Foundation Towards the African Dubai Taiwan Silicon Valley 1.0. You can also access the soft copy. But suffice it to re-echo what in the Anambra are saying, that Anambra is back to winning ways. Anambra is back to winning ways. Some 62 criminal camps have been dismantled and 8 local governments previously under total siege liberated. Anambra had its best Christmas season in decades last December with a mass return and over 10,000 visitors per day to the Solution Fund City every day, Oka, until 10th of January. The debilitating Monday sit at home is over, and our schools, markets, businesses, and public servants are back to work. Ndi Anambra said that ours is now the safest, or at least one of the safest states in Nigeria. I'm sure many of you flew into Anambra yesterday, being Monday. Previously, it was not possible. The once biggest urban slum in the southeast, Oboko, is now New Heaven. Ekulobia is a new city. Oka is surely taking off as a befitting state capital. As of roads, both under the Zero Pothole Initiative, those have been trained and empowered under a unique have been trained and empowered under a unique 1U2 skills program. With 3,000 of U2 skills program, with 3,000 of them confessing to be the new youth millionaires, empowering them for life and laying the foundation for a new palm processing ecosystem. With our revolution in education, especially with the 8,115 new teachers recruited competitively from 18 states of Nigeria, upscaling investment in public school infrastructure and technology, especially with the smart schools, and continuing subsidy to mission schools, the Anambra public schools are back to winning ways. Anambra schools and teachers, especially public schools, now dominate the annual President's Awards. They won 5 and 9 President's Awards in 2024 and 2025, respectively. For context, about 15 awards are available each year, the highest of any state in Nigeria. In 2025, an Anambra public school was rated the best primary school in Nigeria, while a public secondary school had the overall best results in science subjects in the same 2025. Anambra now has the lowest out-of-school children in Nigeria at 2.9%, according to UNICEF. Our truly free education from kindergarten to senior secondary school in all public schools has seen enrollment up by nearly 50%. We have been celebrated as national and regional champions in primary health care, winning cumulative cash awards of $1.6 million US. This is one award that you win cash, and Anambra has won them back to back for 2 years. And our program of free antenatal and free delivery for pregnant women including free cesarean operations in all public hospitals, has benefited slightly over 208,000 women with zero mortality. The 5 brand new general hospitals built and completed are all in the North Senatorial Zone, true to our principle of prioritizing need over politics. This governor, yours sincerely, I am from the South Senatorial Zone. We haven't built any in the South Senatorial Zone. We prioritize the North Senatorial Zone where there has been most acute need. We have been consistently ranked number 1 on fiscal transparency and among top 3 on fiscal sustainability. Our government is being fully digitized and our ease of doing business is robust. Yes, we are wrestling with our number 1 existential threat, the environment, especially flooding and gully erosion. Anambra is the gully erosion capital of the world. The list can go on. And all of this so far, I must note, without borrowing a kobo from any commercial bank. The nation and the world have taken serious notice with dozens of national and international awards and recognitions. Even though someone says we do so much, but we are not doing enough with publicity. I said we will do them first. Later, the people will tell the story. Umunnamundi Anambra, if we build the skyscrapers and flyovers to be inhabited by the Okite and the Ezenwai generations, our homeland will be desolate and our efforts in vain. Our homeland was being overrun by a new and fastest growing religion and philosophy amongst our youth that promised and celebrated wealth without work. The implication for criminality was obvious. We promised a revolution towards a new Anambra, and we are serious about it. With the enforcement of our Homeland Security Law 2025, also Soludo is real. Hundreds of these dangerous native doctors are on the run. The poster boy of the new phenomena, Akwaku Kotiwarake, has pleaded guilty and sentenced to a jail term. His massive shrine has been destroyed as well. We are on a very serious crusade for ethical and cultural rebirth, going back to the roots of what made us great and unstoppable, values of enterprise and integrity. The way we can rescue our youth and secure the future away from drugs, cultism, magic, and criminality. Ndi Anambra, today marks the beginning of a new chapter. The road ahead is still long, and much remains to be done. I am not wired to gloat or celebrate the millions of steps already taken. My focus is firmly on the billions of steps that still lie ahead. Our gaze is on it's not on the next election, but on the next generations. Over the next 4 years in the Anambra, we are changing to Gear 4 to consolidate the ongoing transformation across all sectors, accelerate actions to secure the spaces and pillars for the prosperity of generations yet unborn, and institutionalize change within a build-to-last framework. A population of about 40 million by 2070 and nearly 50 million by the end of the century. The state will require at least 3 airports or even more. But in the next 10 years, there will hardly be any space for them except we act today. We have already planned and invested in 4 new cities and their district. There is the new Niger city near Onitsha, Oka 2.0 city, the Anambra mixed-use industrial city, an Aerotropolis, and the Innovation District, which is proving to be our own Silicon Valley. The CPS of Canada has completed for us the Anambra's Rail Master Plan, and our Gas Master Plan is also ready. Electricity remains a national binding constraint, and we are determined to find some local solutions in partnership with the private investors and the federal government. Yes, it took our friend and brother, Prof. 20 years to build the Aba power plant. We don't expect for this to last the next 20 years. We're inviting our private sector operators, and I think quite a few are on the works. And we must give our people power. Our Electricity Regulatory Commission has set out to guarantee a competitive electricity market. The mixed-use industrial city and the Aerotropolis have been approved by Mr. President as an economic free trade zone. And construction is well underway. A 5-star hotel at the International Convention Center is under construction, while the Coordinated Wholesale Center, the largest drug market in West Africa, is set for commissioning in the first quarter of 2027. These projects are not just buildings and infrastructure. They are foundations for a better life on the Anambra. They will create thousands of jobs, improve access to reliable electricity and transportation, enhance business opportunities, expand trade, and attract private investment. By securing land for the future, building new cities, and modernizing our infrastructure, we are ensuring that the Anambra will enjoy sustainable economic growth, improve livelihoods, and a prosperous environment for generations to come. The above present huge opportunities for private investment, and we invite all on the Anambra and the investors to seize these opportunities and be part of the transformation that will define the state's future. In the Anambra, in a few years, the second airport and the thriving nascent city around it will be delivered. And we will secure space even for the third airport, laying foundation for future generations. Securing the future is urgent. Many audacious and disruptive transformations are not mere options. They are imperatives. For example, the regeneration of Onitsha main market, which for decades was Anambra's address. The Onitsha metropolis itself and the Nnewi are non-negotiable. We have to regenerate these places. We, however, sympathize with those who may be affected by the inevitable changes required to secure our collective future. Those who are on the ways that we are dualizing, houses that need to go, shops that may have to give way for us to rescue our state and build a prosperous future. We empathize, we sympathize, but you can't make such a very glorious omelette without breaking some eggs. Our human capital transformation is accelerating. The primary, secondary, tertiary ecosystem of our health and education sectors is being reimagined with bold new secondary and tertiary institutions under development. Community and local government administration are being re-engineered to maximize peace, security, and grassroots development. The agenda in the Anambra is long, the time short, and the resources finite. But we promise that we will give it everything we've got. Omonne ndi Anambra. Ndi Anambra. Anambra is just one of the 36 of Nigeria. And we can't do this alone. We need partnerships with critical stakeholders, neighboring states in the southeast and south-south, the federal government, the private sector, and the international community. I commend the commitment and vision of the current governors in the southeast, and I am convinced that together we can achieve greatness for our people. Some of them are in London, and some have their deputies here. Personally, as someone who grew up in the old East Central state, I still see the Southeast as one state, unquote. One people that can collaborate to create a united and prosperous homeland for our people. Yet, ụmụnnem ndị Anambra, ụmụnnem ndị Igbo, the Southeast region is performing far below its potential, and this must change for the sake of our future and the generations to come. Several years of self-inflicted but devastating war of attrition, together with the complicit silence of the graveyard, threatened to create a desolate homeland, setting the wheel of development several decades back. How did we get here? In the early 1960s, the Eastern region was reported as the fastest growing sub-region in the world. 9 years after the Nigerian-Biafran Civil War, in 1979, Igbos became the vice president and the speaker of the House of Representatives until 1983. From 1999 to 2007, we had the office of the Senate presidency, which were, of course, rotated among the 5 states. That's an issue for another day. But how, and so on and so forth, that we have held. How all these positions improve the lives of the women in Okpoko, or Ngokpala, or Akwete, or Izambo, or Udenu remains a question for another day. But how did we get to the recent position where we resort to politics of lamentations? The truth is that we have derailed. Perhaps someday, when we ask the hard questions, it may turn out that the problem may not lie exclusively in our stars, but maybe within ourselves. Yes, it will be nice, at least emotionally, to see a man with the red cap at the villa someday. But whether it will matter fundamentally for the average Igbo man is debatable. In 1998, I wrote an article. I was at the United Nations then. I wrote an article in which I argued that it is possible for an Igbo man to be president, vice president, senate president, and speaker of the House of Representatives at the same time, and yet Igbo land or ordinary Igbo man may not even fare better. Focusing largely on transient positions by politicians rather than on frameworks for sustainable prosperity for all misses the major point, in my view. Igbo land needs healing. We need a new language, a new narrative, and a new approach. First, let me repeat what I stated in my inaugural address 4 years ago, and I quote, with Ohaneze and Igbo's estimate that 11.6 million Igbos live in the north, and over 7 million in Lagos State alone, and over 70% of our non-land assets scattered all over Nigeria and the world, Ndi Igbo need Nigeria, and Nigeria needs us. We need Africa and the world, and they need us. End of quote. We must boldly assert our rights as equal citizens of Nigeria, and there are better ways to agitate for equity and fairness in a democracy. Armed struggle in our context is self-annihilating. We must, without apologies, state that never again we will turn the gun on ourselves in the name of agitation. Out of our experience with the Civil War and the recent experiences, Igbos may need a date with history, a day of justice and healing, justice for all the victims of the acts of commission and omission, and healing of the land, with eternal lessons to teach our children. We must be able to say, never again. Second, Ndi Igbo must play the pan-Nigeria politics of coalition for development. Let us join hands with like minds across Nigeria to agitate for a fairer Nigeria where everyone has equal chance to succeed, irrespective of his language, dialect, religion, or region, and a restructured and dynamic federation. Ndi Igbo need to maximize benefits from Nigeria to transform the homeland. But we cannot do so by remaining on the sidelines as social critics and agitators. In a democracy, no one gets what one deserves. You get what you bargain for, and you bargain with your votes. One obvious way for us to matter and be taken seriously in Nigeria, again, is the strength of our organization and the size of our votes. I pray that Ndi Igbo will never waste their votes again. Today, let us commit to unite to launch our own MAGA movement. This is Make Alibo Great Again. I have seen references to this in the social media. A crusade for a livable and prosperous homeland as a proud component of the largest black country on earth, Nigeria. Let's reinvent our past glories under Dr. Azikiwe, Dr. M.I. Okpara, and Dr. Akanibiam, or even Dr. Babiasika of the East Central State after the Civil War. Enough of the lamentations. We need to organize and lobby the rest of Nigeria to live out Nigeria's promise to the Southeast and the former Eastern region after the Civil War for a massive reconstruction of our zone. This was the promise after the Civil War, and we are still waiting. This will require a deliberate agenda akin to the U.S. Marshall Plan for Europe after the Second World War, or at least a principle of equality of zones in sharing or distribution of federal infrastructure. For example, the national highways, the gas pipelines, the rail lines, the river seaports, etc. Combined with good governance by the Southeast governors and the resilience, innovation, and enterprise of our people, the Southeast will soar once again as axis of opportunity and prosperity. That will be the sustainable response to cries of marginalization. President Tinubu is a cerebral, courageous, and patriotic Nigerian. We trust him to make a major difference for Nigeria and for the Southeast. We thank him for the ongoing federal projects in the Southeast, especially the Inaugural Expressway that are now pursuing with vigor, the adjunct to the second Niger Bridge, among others. During his state visit to Anambra on May 8, 2025, I requested, among other things, for Anambra and the Southeast to be immediately included in the national gas and rail master plans, as well as dredging of River Niger for the Onitsha River Port to be operational, and he approved. We expect the agencies involved to deliver. Umunnem ndi Anambra, let us seize this moment and make it count. As I gaze into the future, I see nothing but infinite possibilities and opportunities, the African Dubai, Taiwan. But only those who plan and organize can control that future. I apply for this job because I am a proud Igbo man and a proud Nigerian, a new Zikist and a Pan-Africanist who believes in the strong possibility of reinventing Igbo land as a livable and prosperous homeland within the context of a united and prosperous Nigeria and Africa. Government alone cannot create that future. Only the collective actions of all of us and in partnership with the rest of the world can make the ADTS a reality. Citizens pay taxes, obey rules and laws, contribute ideas, make our environment sustainable, say something when they see something, especially in aid of security, and even tar roads, build hospitals and schools, etc. We commend the Anambra billionaires who are transforming their communities and the state under a public-private community partnership, PPCP framework. Each of us has something to contribute, however little, to make Anambra great. To our diaspora population, including those in Lagos and Abuja, we consider you also as diaspora. This is your state. God did not make a mistake to create you as Onye Anambra. On the last day, he will ask all of us how we left this state better than we met it. I must now close by making this unmistakable promise in the Anambra. I make this promise, solemn promise to you in the Anambra today, that the deputy governor, the new cabinet, which will soon start off, and I will dedicate ourselves 24/7 over the next 4 years to make you proud. For me, this mission is personal. I am driven to build a state where I will be proud to retire after the next 4 years, when I take my deserved retirement, I want to help to build a state where I will retire, where my children and grandchildren will thrive, and where every Onye Anambra can proudly say, this is my home. This is our moment, because I ask all of us, if not now, when? And if not us, who? Anambra is back and rising, stronger and bolder. And at the end of the next 4 years, there will be no doubt the foundations to a livable and prosperous smart megacity, the ADTS, will be solid. We now have a record of delivering more than our promise. Hence, when you echo with me that solution is here, know that it is not a slogan. It is our covenant. It is our promise. Ndị Anambra, let us rise, let us act, and let us build that future together. God bless you all. God bless Anambra State. God bless all progressives. And God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.